We are waiting for time, but in the interim, if you have joined me, you can signify. We are scheduled for 10 o'clock, but I am on time. Meanwhile, let me get a cup of tea as we are waiting for people to come. Let me get a cup of tea. Yeah, I'm back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I don't know if it's 10 o'clock yet. We are scheduled for 10 o'clock. I'm so glad to have you here. Can you indicate where you are, who you are? Wonderful people. Thank you so much. Blessing, Brendo. How is Japan? Thank you so much. There were questions I did not see yesterday. I intend to answer those questions this morning. So, Ufoma Apoki, where are you? It promises to be a very wonderful time because we'll be talking about managing finances in the family. Managing finances in the family. The major causes of disputes in families range from copulation, finances, in-laws, children, then fidelity or infidelity. So I'm so glad to share with you. If it's 10 o'clock, somebody should let me know. I am always apprehensive of doing things late. So I started on time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Managing finances in the family. I want to thank, yes, well done. Managing finances in the family. I also want to thank my friend from Cameroon that sent me a message. I want to thank all of you that have been sending messages from Kenya, from different countries, from the United States. I want to thank those of you. Oh, Oberi from Dubai, thank you so much. I want to thank those of you who have been ordering my Gary online, my executive Gary, who can produce 3 types of cassava products for you. The white Gary, which is good for the elderly, the vitamin A fortified Gary, that is true palm oil, the red one or the yellow one, can supply that. Then we can supply cassava flour, fufu. That one can last for 6 months in your house, and it's very healthy. We ferment it and then grind it, fry it, and grind it again. So it's very smooth, very nice. You can also soak it. Very nice to soak. So glad. I want to thank my sister that bought potatoes from Dubai for the family. Thank you so much. So I want to look at, first of all, I'm admiring myself this morning. I look very fresh. Very, very fresh. My wife is taking very good care of me. Then check out my dress. My t-shirt has the Rich and Righteous. It's from King's World Ministries International. Pastor Chika generously gave me this dress, and it's a conference he organizes annually, and we go there to speak on creating righteous wealth. What is marriage? Marriage is according to biblical principles. Marriage is a willful union. Number one, willful, not forceful. It's a willful union between two mutually consenting adults. Mutually consenting adults of the opposite sex. Opposite sex. For the purpose, purposes of achieving mutually shared ideas and ideals. Mutually shared ideas and ideals. There are ideas I had, ideas my wife has or had when we were younger. She was 19, I was 21 when I told her I was going to marry her. So we've known each other for 42 years. We've been married for 38 years. Ideas and ideals. I wanted to be a medical doctor. I was already in medical school. She wanted to be a teacher, but I felt that she would be more complimentary to me as the head of the family who wants to be a medical doctor. So I encouraged her to go study nursing, which she did. Subsequently, she did midwifery at the Abia State University Teaching Hospital, did nursing at the University of Benin Teaching Hospital. And then, after I retired from medical practice at the age of 40, we came back to her dream of teaching, and we established schools. So, mutually shared ideas and ideals. Ideals are values you hold dear. I am AS and she is AS. And they did the test, mine at the University College Hospital, her own at University of Benin Teaching Hospital. In fact, she repeated it after several years of marriage. She was still AS. I've not done mine. And I told her, I am marrying you, not children. So the ideal I had was the union, marrying you, companionship, friendship, and partnership. And we mutually believe in faithfulness to one another. We mutually believe that we must build a dynasty to restore the position of our grandparents. Our grandfathers, maternal and paternal, were very wealthy. Her paternal grandfather, Onojigofia, built a story building when there were very few story buildings in Nigeria. He had slaves. The maternal grandfather owned a great percentage of the land mass in Okwokoko. My grandfather, paternal grandfather, was a wealthy businessman. He had his own beach that canoes came from different parts to buy products. In fact, the currency of exchange then, which were cowries, used to grow in my grandfather's waterside. My great-grandfather, my grandfather's waterside. He lived alone in his own estate, far away from the town. My maternal grandfather was the custodian of the tradition of his community. In fact, he was gazetted as a king as far back as 1961 or thereabout, I can't remember. So that's lineage. So, but we grew up meeting poverty because our parents did not school, they did not have financial intelligence. And so to restore that and to leave a legacy for our children's children. So the marriage was purposeful. And because of the insults we received from our background, we decided that our children and our grandchildren will not receive such insults. And I came up with the concept of having a global family. She didn't buy into it initially, but she saw the need as circumstances unfolded. So these are mutually shared ideas and ideals. This foundation is very important because it forms the bedrock for managing finances. So because we had mutual understanding of what we were going into, that we were going into a partnership, to a restorative partnership. We didn't have much, but we needed to build a new legacy and a new dynasty. This is very important for managing finances. When I was traveling with her to go and preach, and we were getting money, she would always say, let us invest these monies so that if people do not invite us to go speak, we will have something we are doing and we will not need to depend on people, because she hates to beg, just like as I hate to beg. And then I like hotels. And I loved to stay in the hotels then, watch CNN. And we built this house, and the bungalow downstairs there, like a hotel. We have 8 bedrooms here with 10 toilets. Each room has its own toilet with visitors' toilet here. And you can see the walls are tiled. Shared ideas and ideals. We don't like owing. So that influenced the way we manage our resources. We don't like being taken for granted. That influenced the way we manage our resources. So, number one, money has to be generated. has to be generated. Part of number one for money, you must make money. The process of making money is collaborative. Collaborative. That is to say, you must contribute your quota to making this money. I had the ideas to write books, so I will write the books. My son, who most probably is watching now, would typeset them. He started typesetting them from the age of 13. From the age of 13. Please let me adjust here. Okay. From the age of 13. So he will type, and then my wife will take them to the printing press, and then we will print. Then we will bring the printed materials back home. The whole family, they were students then, would take part in the compilation of the books. We will compile the books, sometimes late into the night. Then my wife will staple. I will staple. The children became big, they started stapling before we carry them for trimming. As I will be preaching, my wife will sit outside with the books. If they tell her, come and sit on the altar, she will tell them that altar does not pay school fees. That is the books we are selling that will pay school fees. So she was not raising her shoulders, wife of guest speaker, former nurse, midwife, Dr. Apoki's wife. No, she didn't go there for mama. She went there to for me to preach to the people and also make money for her family. Because anointing without money will lead to frustration. So we were all involved in the generation of money. Emanuela, thank you. I'm talking about managing finances in the family. Every hand must be on deck. I needed to produce audio records then of my messages. And so my son, Ufoma Apoki, is now a PhD holder, Dr. Ufoma Apoki, in Romania, PhD computer science, was the one who was recording me in the room. He will press the recording button, run out of the room, and I will start preaching and recording my messages. And then my friend, Elder Pastor Chuma Koraf of blessed memory, sent me cassette duplicator and a magnetic cleaner. So I will finish preaching, from our record, then we'll start duplicating. Duplicate sometimes into the night. And then after duplicating, we'll start packaging them. So the whole family was involved. When we opened the school, they had already finished secondary school. So they could teach the nursery children. All my children, apart from the last one, taught in the school. And the simple reason is that they must know the process through which the money they were getting was coming from. And when children and their parents and every person is involved in the production of the wealth, frivolity is frivolous expenditure, recklessness, and I'm looking for a word, is limited. When I was decking this floor that I'm standing on, I called my eldest son, Dr. Miracle, Dr. Mimi Apoki. Excuse me, I told him to block in between the plants. He was in university then, he was in medical school. I asked him, do you know why I told you to block in between these plants so that the cement will not leak? He said no. He's a very soft gentleman. He said no. I said, see, you are my eldest son. The reason I told you to block in between the plants is so that you will know the pain it took me and your mother to build this house so that you will not sell it when I am dead. I'm already managing finances by making him realize the value of this, what it cost us to build this house. One of the problems we have in this generation is that men choose wives from ceremonies and nightclubs and from areas of flamboyance. And men try to paint a picture of affluence and stability, while it is just packaging. Most big boys you see are bloated balloons. A little financial pricking, they will deflate. And then the girls come in thinking that romance is equivalent to finance. And then they just come thinking that the man is an ATM. And they don't want to work because you have created a wrong impression for them, told them fantastic stories. My wife knew my background. So don't create delusion for your wife and don't create delusion for your children. The wealth you have now has taken so many years to make, so many efforts to make. Don't create a delusion for them that they are like chickens. If you put chickens on top of a bag of maize, a basin of maize, they will still scatter it because they don't know the value. Children today, most of them grow up with an entitlement mentality. They don't understand what it takes to grow a business. The Asians, the Jews, their children from 13 start taking responsibility. Kenneth, thank you so much. They start taking responsibility. One of the richest men in the world from Mexico, Carlos Slim, his father taught him to record his expenditure of his pocket money. He said that gave him value for money. Dangote, as Goshen TV, thank you so much. Dangote, as wealthy as he is, he says he does not throw money anyhow. He drives himself during weekends in Lagos. He does not own any building overseas. He is very simple and very frugal. So his own children have also known how his psychology is, and therefore they follow his footsteps. Those of us from the Niger Delta and Nigeria in particular, we like conspicuous consumption. We like unnecessary display of wealth. The resultant effect is that our children copy us and they want to intimidate their mates, and in the process of intimidating their mates, they squander resources. When my eldest son came from Europe, there's a fish pond we have here. I entered inside the fish pond with him to catch catfish. He did not resist because he was already used to it before he went to Europe. When my last child, Essie, came from Europe after his master's degree, we were in the farm. He will carry cucumber on his head because he saw me carrying cucumber on my head. We cleared the bush together during COVID with his friends, planted watermelon. In fact, the first day he came, he carried the chairs in my office to clean them. And his elder sister, who manages the school, asked one of the cleaners there, say, who is that? Who do you know that person? He said, no, maybe he's a new cleaner. she told her that that's my younger brother, just came from Europe. So we have this commitment. At one time, he was selling ice cream in the school. All my children used to follow the school buses because I was the first driver of the school bus. And when we employed drivers, they used to accompany the school buses to know where the children are dropped, how the drivers were performing. So you must get the whole family to make the money. If not, they won't know how to manage it. The next thing is that when you are in a monogamous marriage, which is the ideal of God, you have a common purse. You bring everything to the household. But you see, it is not cultivated during marriage. It is cultivated during courtship. One of the values I had was that there were times I couldn't. One day we were standing in the front of University of Benin Teaching Hospital. I was to go back to university to do the penultimate exam before graduation. I didn't have transport money. Somebody gave me 10,000 naira. Ajayi, thank you so much. Somebody gave me 10 naira, Bemigo lorry, to pay transport. By the time I got to Benin with my wife to be there, she went and withdrew 3 naira from her account and added. And we stood at the front of Uniben, waiting for a vehicle to carry me to Lagos. And she started crying. I think she was 21 or 22 or then, in her early 20s. She started crying. She said if she were to be myself, she wouldn't continue medical school. And I told her I don't stop halfway. And she gave me her 3 naira plus my 7 naira. And I got to Ibadan with 2 naira. So we started the collective ownership of money by contributing and collating our resources to achieve our mutually shared ideas, ideals. But that might not be very advisable in today's generation, where the boys and the girls are not sincere. Integrity is a key issue in relationship. Integrity is a key issue. I've told people severally, and I keep repeating it. This is my 38 years of marriage and 42 years of knowing my wife. Since I married her, infidelity has been far from us. So trust is very important. Common vision is more important. Don't let what your eyes see determine your erection, and don't let your erection give you direction. Let your vision, yes, that's true. Let your vision determine the direction of your erection. So, as much as possible, let your vision determine the direction of your erection. And so, there needs to be trust. The problem with this generation, particularly among our females, if you go to TikTok, you go to Bigo, I hear there are the ones that they open their bodies and they pay them money. Nakedness, exposure of this body is no longer of value to women. And even to men. I can't strip naked for any woman in this world. This is the temple of the living God. And Christ dwells in me. He that is in me is greater than he that is in the world, or she that is in the world. So I treasure this body. I cannot unite this body with another body that God has not approved for me. So today, and if I can unite my body with somebody else, that I treasure my body so much, I can unite my finances with that person. Because it is my body that produces the finances. I can unite my body with that person. If I can unite my body with that person, I can unite my finances with that person. But you see, in managing the finances, the better manager should be in charge. When we got married, in the first 20, 30, until very recently, until COVID, all the monies I got from outside, my wife is listening to me here, so if what I'm saying is not correct, she will come out here and she will just pass through this door behind me and come and tell you, you don't start to lie again, no. So she's hearing what I'm saying. When I go to preach, they give me honorarium. We sold books, the monies were in her hand. As I bring money, I'll give to her. Because she was a better manager. I was seeing the results. You see this house behind me? She was responsible for building it. You see, I did an interview with her. If you go check my YouTube channel, A Wise Woman Builds Her House. If you see that school, it's a beautiful school. It will match any school anywhere in the world. She single-handedly built it. The one that I showed recently, and somebody was surprised in the United States that I had such a structure. She single-handedly built it. We have 6 flats somewhere there. She single-handedly built it. The first house we built was when cement was 50 naira, 50, not 5,000, 50 naira a bag. I think she was 27, 28. She was 28, 29 when she built that house. I only came there when my parents moved in. So she has been a great manager of great resources. So when you are choosing a spouse, test them with little things. If they are wasteful, untrustworthy, be very careful. Trust is very important in marriage and in managing finances. So the better manager should manage the resources. If those monies were in my hands, I could not have accounted for them, because sometimes I can even hide money and forget where I hid it. So she is a better manager. She knows more about building than myself. So she is the better manager, and so she managed our finances. Until very recently, when I needed to have a separate stream of income from what we had been doing, that is the farm, that is the real estate, that is my lecture tours, that includes my books, because rats won't get one hole, they live long. That's by Boma Eric Osima of Radio Rivers to FM Stereo. I don't know if he's still alive. He said that a rat that has one hole does not live long, because once you just start digging towards the rat, it will die. You will kill it. So, you want me to talk about divorce someday, I will talk about it. So that is not a difficult subject. Sorry, I found out that it was very dangerous for all our eggs to be in one basket and one sector of the economy. So I decided that I realized that it is very dangerous for you and your wife to be broke at the same time. Very, very dangerous for you and your wife to be broke at the same time. And it is more dangerous to be old and be broke. So I created another independent arm of the economy, of the family economy. You see, what we talk about government in Nigeria, not because government affects my businesses, not because of that. You can build an economy outside government influence. The rules will not target you alone. I always have an alternative to the thoughts of government. So, build your personal economy, your family economy. So I built an economy outside the former dynastic economy. But we own everything together. And 99.99% of these finances are available to each of us. So that sometimes I want to travel, she can sign checks and make payments on our behalf. Because she is the better manager. So, let the better manager manage. Let me come to better manager and women. I know a man who was sending money from overseas to his wife to build a dynasty. The woman squandered the money, built a house in her family name, and the man came back from wherever he went to and met nothing. And the man was frustrated and strangulated. So, women, if men give you money to manage on their behalf, you must manage them judiciously. Don't squander them. Don't divert them to your family. Because you will be traumatizing the man and your entire family. So most women have an attitude of managing, of cornering resources to themselves and to their families. One problem we have with women, particularly those who have not had good business training, is such that when you give a woman money to do a business, when you ask them for details of their expenditure, most times they turn to anger. They just want to, why they ask me? Why they ask me? Waiting, I chop this. No. Money must be respected. If not, it will disgrace you. So, how much have you put in? Do you have records? How much is coming out? How come the Igbos are the richest tribe in Nigeria? If you buy something from an Igbo man, he has a notebook. He will record what you bought. He has how much he bought that thing. If you price something from an Igbo man, he will say, let me check. He will go and check his notebook, how much he bought it, when he bought it. Then he will tell you the price. And so they have records. Even the boy that works with them, the Omo Odibo, that works with them, they have a record of how much he has generated in the business. And when they want to settle him, it is proportionate to what he has generated. So why can't women keep records? They are not illiterate. At least you have school certificate. Credit in mathematics is not to enter university. Credit in mathematics is for you to be able to take intelligent financial decisions. It's for you to know what compound interest is for you to know what interest rates are. It is for you to know the cost of producing money. It is not enough to have money in your hand. Maybe you put 10,000 and then you have 30,000. In the parable of talent, the man that brought five talents back was given 5 talents and brought 10 talents back. He ate, he paid house rent, he traveled, he paid taxes. That 10 talents represented the profit, but there was a cost. If money is in your hand, don't only look at the profit, look at the cost. What does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? So there is profit and there is gain and then loss. If the money is not commensurate with the wear and tear on your body, on your health, on your spiritual life, and on the machinery that you use to produce it, that money you have is loss. It's not profit. So women, most times, don't bring romance into money issue. Romance and finance are not good companions. Bring your intellect into it. How much are you generating from this business? Are you just depriving me of yourself and using your life to service others and just getting peanuts? I spoke about value yesterday. What is it that is adding more value to you? Pareto principle. 80% of your efforts will bring 20% of your returns. 20% of your efforts will bring 80% of your returns. Why don't you spend more of your energies on that 20% that gives you 80% results and use the remaining 80% of that time to look for another 20% from that 80% of your time to generate another 80%. Then you have another 60%, share it into 3, use it to generate another Pareto principle of 20%, giving you 80% returns. And you will become rich. So families should concentrate on businesses that generate the maximum results. So madam, please keep records. Madam, learn to calculate. Madam, learn a little bit of statistics. How many customers did you have at Susus in January? How many do you have now? How many bags of rice were you selling? How many are you selling now? And at what rate? How has the cost of petrol subsidy affected your businesses? These are basic things we expect from our wives. Most times, our wives fall short in this area, excepting those who have had basic business training. Therefore, our churches are very defective in teaching us how to make money. Our churches are more interested in tithes and offerings without knowing that Jesus taught a lot with monetary principles. The time has come when our churches should call people to teach their people on how to generate money, how to maintain money, how to manage money, and how to, thank you, Felix from Germany, how to maintain money and generate momentum with money. Church is Sunday school. You know how Sunday school started? Rex is the name of the man. Children were in the streets going to school, and Rex decided to bring them to church and teach them academics, not Bible, in school. That was why it was called Sunday school. We now converted it to teaching people Bible. When society fails, the church must step in like God. And so we must deliberately, intentionally start to teach our young people about money before they even get married. Start to teach married women, married men about money. Our people in church are very naive. A great percentage of our church members don't know anything about finances, don't know anything about cooperatives. And you are telling them if they pay their tithe, they will get rich, the windows of heaven will open. If the windows of heaven open and you don't have canals to channel this money to a lake, it will cause financial erosion. What is happening with most Christians is financial erosion, because Parkinson's law is being obeyed by them, that the more money you make, the more you spend. And maybe because a lot of Vivian, thank you so much, because a lot of our pastors are financially illiterate. They won't accept it, but you can't do me anything. They are financially illiterate. They don't know what to teach. And those of us teaching these things, they think that we are not anointed. We are anointed. All those people falling down in your churches, we have done that before. They fell down, broke plastic chairs they could not buy. And we had, as scientists, as a sociologist, we had to, I'm a medical doctor, but I also have a master's degree in the social sciences. We had to observe this phenomenon and arrive that when you fall down, when a plantain falls down, it lies down there as plantain, remains plantain, won't turn to yam. It is the content of a man that when the doxa of God, the weight of God knocks him down, that produces result. Fall empty, you wake up empty. So the children, you must see that the Bible says that a righteous man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Anytime I was receiving money, I knew it was not my money. It was for my children and my children's children. You would then ask me, if I build a business empire for my children and their children, what would they do? Now, the progressive improvement of humanity was in God's mind. Nobody built for me. They gave me education. I have built for my children. I'm building for my grandchildren. They too, my son should build for his children's children. His child should build for his children's children. And then this black color will not become an insult any longer. Anytime you see a black man on television, is either that he is carrying a gun, or he is carrying a plate, or he's begging for food. Imagine that picture of a vulture waiting to eat that young boy that was taken in Darfur. Very nauseating and humiliating picture to the black man. In fact, the man that took the picture, eventually, I think he committed suicide. He felt too guilty for for taking that picture, even though the child was later rescued to a UN place and he eventually died. So the best way, Lipton is the name of a man. Cadbury is the name of a man. Sony was established by a man. Toyota established Toyota. What are black people leaving behind? Must we become consumers? Toyota's grandchild is the current manager. Several companies, Sabanci Foundation in Turkey pays 5% of the annual tax of Turkey. A woman is heading it now. Beretta Pistol. Beretta has been producing guns for 500 years. Bagdash Ice Cream Parlor in Damascus has been producing ice cream since 1895. Smithfield Foods was established by Guinness from Dublin. So we keep consuming, terminating, the man dies. Now let me come to when a man, the children must be conscious of protecting the wealth of the family. Dangote's grandfather, Pa Hassan Dantata, was the richest man in Nigeria. He has become the richest man in Africa. How come? I was asking myself. So how come Ishaku Rabiu is building a... So the northerners in Nigeria have transgenerational financial intelligence. They have transgenerational wealth. They have transgenerational military, police, custom occupancy. They know how to occupy office. They know how to occupy offices. They have transgenerational political wisdom. They know how to transfer and make their children and their descendants to occupy key traditional, political and economic positions. We, the church, we have this refugee mentality. It won't be long, we'll be going home, count the days as we die. If you want to go, die and leave us alone. Die. Why don't you die? Why don't you jump in front of a trailer and go home? And as I said, we are going to come back here for 1,000 years for the millennial reign. Come back here for the millennial reign. Don't live like a refugee in this world that God gave you dominion to control. So, the children must manage resources well. Let me come to funerals and inheritance laws. Don't spend resources to bury a man and then the family will go broke and then the children will suffer. Conserve the resources. The man is dead. Conserve the resources and use it to develop humanity. Number 2, don't scramble for what you cannot manage. It is better than Dangote's grandfather said that his assets should not be shared. His assets should not be shared. There are several families that own family dynastic wealth. They are not shared. If you now, the Rothschilds, if you now share money to a lousy eldest son, he will squander it. Sabanci Foundation in Turkey that I told you is managed by a woman. I was in Juba and I saw the Falcon group of companies. A young man who has a master's degree, born in Syria alone, is the one managing the Falcon group for his uncle in Juba. They produce water, they produce several things. And so you see the Lebanese. I was in Makeni in Sierra Leone. The black people were the ones carrying products, arranging shelves. But the Lebanese were the ones counting money and observing sales. When will the mentality of the black man change? When will it change and think about transgenerational wealth? Don't run and start scampering for buildings you did not build. Instead, maintain this collective wealth and take care of every descendant of the family. At one time, the Rothschilds refused to marry outside. They were marrying themselves so that the wealth would not go out. Dangote's grandfather set rules down. Any person you want to marry, if it does not fit into the psychology of the Dangote dynasty, don't marry that person. Don't go into, Dan Tata family. Don't go into politics. And none of them has broken that law. The only one that went into politics did not live long. So, transgenerational wealth. And I must warn African families. Somebody will just die. Those dirty, lousy, lazy relatives who have not contributed anything to the welfare of the man will come and start asking for his bank details, will start asking for his account, car keys. You are a thief, stupid thief, coming to ask for details when the woman was laboring with the man. Where were you? Thieves. You want to reap where you did not sow. And so they will come, squander everything, put unnecessary conditions on the children before they can bury their own father. Unnecessary pressure. Buy cow, do this, build this house, build that house. And then the wealth of the man is squandered. They will sell cars, they will sell buildings, they will sell properties. That is not fair. Africa, imagine the Muslims, their burial ceremony is very simple. And I think even the Hindus, they just gather firewood and burn you and throw your ash somewhere. And life goes on. We must take care of the living and leave wealth from one generation to the other. I want to end here. I don't know if Dr. Ufoma Apoki is on. We were supposed to take the questions of the last meeting. If he's not here and there are no questions, I beg to end here. I'm your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. Subscribe to this channel. If you have any questions, I can take them very quickly. Share with people. I was so glad that that associate professor sent me a message from Pakistan. Anytime I hear, Olu, thank you so much. Anytime I get a message from those majorly Islamic countries, I'm always encouraged. Thank you so much. Share this video to as many people as possible. Hopefully, I should be back in the evening and we will share another subject matter. Thank you, those of you who send me data to be able to make this broadcast. We need more support from you. Those of you who send finances and gifts, we really appreciate you for what you are doing. This lecture is supposed to cost you a lot of money, you know that? But we're giving it to you free. So we expect you to contribute to the development of this ministry. This time I am using to speak to you, somebody from the UK sent the money and we need to improve whatever we are doing. God bless you.